What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Vince Miracle back at you with another NBA Best Bets. Man, guys, we've been doing pretty well. We missed the last couple days. I'm not ever going to do any weekends. They'll be very rare unless, maybe there's a huge UFC card. But, this is Basketball Zone, CK, YouTube channel. So, I don't want to bring in too many of the other outside stuff that my gambling self shouldn't be bringing to this channel. But, if anybody ever requests that, I definitely would be open to the idea of bringing that here. Now, before we jump into everything, I want to remind everyone that this show is sponsored by FanDuel.com. Everyone, go to FanDuel.com. Start signing up today by using promo code King's Court. That's right. Use the name of my podcast, King's Court, and you'll get a match up to $500 of your very first deposit. Now, look, guys, we are doing very well so far in this season, brand new through, 2-3 episodes now, and we have a positive winning record. Our last day, we broke even. We had two 1-unit bets and two 2-unit bets. I wish I had the graphic up over here. Today, I just don't have it. I'll definitely have it more often than not. But we had one of each. We won one, we lost one, we won, we lost one. We won a 2-unit, lost a 2-unit, won a 1-unit, lost a 1-unit. So we broke even. So we stayed positive on the season. But with that being said, let's move on to today's games where we have a very uncomfortable NBA season afoot, right? Like the NBA is starting to get to the point now where they have to decide whether or not they're going to be postponing games, which they're already starting to do. And we're going to start seeing more names than you've probably never seen before. Maybe even some old names that you do know that you didn't even know was out of the league. You just didn't know what happened to them. You're going to start seeing these guys pop back up on your radar, Lance Stevenson being one of them. He may get signed to a 10-day contract here soon to the hardship. We will see. But, that knowledge is why it's here and why we're going to keep filling up this bag, whether it's through making bets or if I give you guys a great name to use in your FanDuel. So let's dive on in. Here we go. First game up, we have the Philadelphia 76ers heading into Boston as 3.5-point underdogs to the Boston Celtics. Now, there is a questionable tag next to Jason Tatum, where we do know that the Celtics are already kind of reeling from injuries. Josh Richardson in health and safety protocols. Marcus Smart, I believe, is dealing with something but is still playing. Jaylen Brown still coming back. No Al Horford. So they still have some guys missing. Where you look to the Philly side, they've kind of let us down a little bit, guys. Philly's let us down, but, they still have Joel Embiid playing. They still have Seth Curry. They still have Danny Green. I believe they also still have Tobias Harris. There's no word on him. They're 3.5-point underdogs. While I do like Boston's overall team and their ability to score, there's just something about the Sixers in me. And I know they've let me down in the past, so I'm not going to go more than a unit here. But we like the 76ers here on the road, plus 3.5 points. I like that. I'd even do a little sprinkle. If you have a half a unit that you want to just say, hey, maybe a parlay, I wouldn't be surprised if the Sixers leave the Boston Garden and leave there with a win today. I could really see Joel Embiid having one of those games with no Al Horford there to stop him. I get that Robert Williams is a good defender, but Joel Embiid is just a top-notch scorer at that center position. So we will see how that goes, but I do have the 76ers plus 3.5. We move on to the next game where the Houston Rockets on the road against another team hit with a bunch of COVID health and safety protocol players, Zach LaVine being out. They still have their guards back though. They got Alex Caruso back. They got Kobe White back. I like this Bulls team a lot, and this Rockets team plays with a lot of grit, a lot of fight. I've been so torn here, but the thing that always gets me leaning more towards the Bulls is Nikola Vucevic. And now I know Vucevic hasn't played up to the expectations most fantasy players wanted him to get to, and his efficiency level just hasn't been there on a consistent basis. But he's going to be a focal point of the offense, and I don't know if there's anyone on the Houston Rockets team that can truly slow him down. Now, I get Christian Wood is a decent defender, especially when he's help side, but I don't know if he can hang with the size and the body work that Vucevic does. And then you throw that in there with DeRozan being able to get his shot against almost anyone at any time. I think this is going to be an up and down game. The total points over under currently sits at 222.5. I'm leaning more towards the over on that one. But if I had to go through the spread, which I know what you guys are here for, is that point spread. Which one are you taking? I'm rolling with the favorites here on this one, and I'm going to take -6.5 for the Chicago Bulls, and we'll do that for 1 unit. So that's where we're going there. Move on to game number 3. We have the Oklahoma City Thunder heading into Memphis to take on a potential return of Ja Morant in the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, the Grizzlies are 8.5-point favorites. They got a lot of juice in them for this game. You know, they have been playing well without Ja. I think their incorporation of Ja Morant makes them actually a little bit less appealing. And I get it. Why would that make you less appealing? Well, I mean, it's just because Ja Morant does take up so many shots away from the other guys who have been flourishing with him being out. Let's say like a Jaren Jackson Jr., a Tyus Jones, who is also questionable today, and maybe the questionable tag is there just due to the fact that he also may be out if Ja does return. He may be completely out of the rotation when Ja returns because they've been playing Melton so much. Now, this may sound crazy, guys, but I'm rolling with the Oklahoma City Thunder here. I believe Lou Dort has been balling like crazy. Lou Dort has been fun to watch. Josh Giddey is a nice prospect point guard. He's been doing a lot of good things. The other day, he almost got a triple-double. He's fun. He's a smart basketball player. I like him, and obviously, you love SGA. They have some nice young wings there in Oklahoma City as well. I like Darius Bazley. You know, he's super inconsistent, but his defensive effort has really started to be praised and picked up a lot from the Oklahoma City trading staff and coaching staff. So I am going to go with Oklahoma City on the road plus 8.5. Again, we're only taking that one for a unit, especially when you got to think that. I mean, it's still the Oklahoma City Thunder. They definitely want to keep losing games, but I don't think they want to get blown out. And this team plays with heart. I'm going to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder here plus 8.5 on the road in Memphis. Move on to game number 4. We have the Charlotte Hornets going up against the Utah Jazz in Utah. Utah being 12.5-point favorites. That's tied for the highest point spread total, but in the entire night. Jazz, I mean, they just have all the big men. I mean, you got Rudy Gobert, you got Hassan Whiteside, where the Hornets have no size down low. Their best big man is PJ Washington, and I mean, he's 6. I think he's 6'8", 6'9", so he's the size of like a Harrison Barnes. And then I get they have Mason Plumlee, but Mason Plumlee, while he is a good serviceable center, he's not the guy that you look to as a stopper in any way, especially for a guy like Rudy Gobert. So this game, I say it's a hard pass. The over-under is at 237.5. So I love Donovan Mitchell in this game if they believe it's going to be high scoring. I am taking the under on that spread. I think the Utah Jazz still play phenomenal defense, and I get it. LaMelo is going to probably go off a little bit. There's a questionable tag next to Gordon Hayward's name. I believe he's doubtful to play in this game, so you're going to see a lot of Jalen McDaniels. I'm rolling with the Utah Jazz minus 12.5. I'm not comfortable about it. I would rather say put a unit on under 237.5. I feel like you get better odds for it there. They're both minus 110 when you're taking these types of over-unders or point spreads. So I would say I would lead more toward the under on the points of 237.5 if I had to throw a unit out there, but I am also minus 12.5 for the Utah Jazz. We move on now to the game that I'll probably be watching the most of. Sacramento Kings going up against the Golden State Warriors in Golden State. The Kings cross over the bridge, 12.5-point underdogs here. And look, I'm taking the Kings. They've won 2 games now without De'Aaron Fox. They're hopeful in the fact that they're going to get Richaun Holmes back today, and I do believe he makes his return today against the Warriors. And the connection between Haliburton and Holmes will at least generate offense for the Kings on a consistent basis. That's Tyrese Haliburton's safety net is Richaun Holmes, and he becomes my favorite play on FanDuel at $6,600. So that's someone, a FanDuel play of the day. It would be through this game, and it's going to be with Rashawn Holmes. And the Golden State Warriors, no Andrew Wiggins, health and safety protocols. No Jordan Poole, health and safety protocols. Now, I get that they rested their guys in Steph and Draymond just the other night. And, this team has been playing out of their mind. I believe they're top 5, one of only 2 teams top 5 in the NBA, both in offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. And this is going to be one of those games where the Kings could get blown out in the first quarter. They have been a slow starting team, but 12.5 points is a lot of points when the over-under sits at 221.5. I think the Kings have been playing a little bit better with Doug Christie at the helm, just because his rotations involve so many different guys being able to be in the game, and it keeps the others fresh. It's only for a unit, definitely not more than that, but plus 12.5, I like the Sacramento Kings here against the Golden State Warriors. Call me crazy, call me a homer, but it is what it is. And we move on to the final game of the evening. It's the San Antonio Spurs on the road against the Los Angeles Clippers, who may once again be without Paul George. Now, the San Antonio Spurs coming in as 4.5-point underdogs against this Clippers team. Again, potentially with no Paul George. He is considered questionable for this game. Marcus Morris still out for this matchup. You're going to see a lot of Luke Kennard, a lot of Nick Batum. Serge Ibaka is expected to make his return today. He's probable from his injury. I actually love the way the Spurs have been playing. Are they consistently getting wins? No, but they're coached by a great and a future Hall of Famer in Popovich. But DeJounte Murray has just taken his game to the next level. And in the fourth quarter, man, he's been phenomenal to watch. He has this dog in him that he wants to find a way to get his team to win. I think Keldon Johnson has been a nice big man, just a nice consistent presence down there at the 4 spot. And Jakob Poeltl, man, I think he's overlooked by many. People just see a name and go, oh, he's just the center. But no, he's a good basketball player. He reminds me a little bit of like if Vooch and Steven Adams were like a thing. He's not as offensively gifted as Vooch, and he's not as strong as Steven Adams. But like you take those two skill sets, it's basically what you see in Jakob Poeltl, and I think his game is nice. He's not overall all-star type of talent. Don't get it twisted, but long story short, I like Jakob Poeltl, and again, I'm going to ride with a dog tonight. I am riding with an underdog. I got plus 4.5 for the San Antonio Spurs, and again, this is one of those games where I say you take a little sprinkle, you take a half a unit, and don't be afraid to throw the San Antonio Spurs into a parlay or in a one-team bet. And, over-under sits at 217.5. I actually like the under on that as well. I think this could be a very low-scoring game. A lot of mid-range jumpers or a lot of three-pointers coming from that could be missed. The Spurs play good defense. It's not like the Spurs are out there not showing on those three-point shots. They play fast. I like the Spurs here, plus 4.5, and I wouldn't be mad at you if you guys took the money line. And that, guys, it wraps up today's NBA Best Bets. So before we sign off, let's go ahead and recap. We are taking the Philadelphia 76ers for 1 unit, both as plus 3.5-point underdogs and as plus 135 on the money spread. We like both of those there. We are also taking for only 1 unit the Chicago Bulls at minus 6.5. We like them over the Houston Rockets. Big X factor for us is Nikola Vucevic, so we are going to ride with the Bulls minus 6.5 here at home. Next up, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder on the road against the Grizzlies. We like plus 8.5 here. Even if Ja Morant comes back, we still like the dog in this one. We're going to roll with SGA and the Thunder crew at plus 8.5, and we're going to do that for 1 whole unit. Moving on to this next game, which is the Hornets and the Jazz. Look, we're going to try and stay away from the point spread this time, guys. We're staying away from the spread. We're actually going to go to the total points, and I'm recommending you guys take the under on 237.5. Again, we are going to take the under on 237.5. That's 1 whole unit there, guys. I wouldn't be mad at you guys if you did a little bit more, but 1 whole unit should be good just because that is such a high spread, and being that such an interesting game in terms of matchup. Maybe they believe, I mean, the spread is so big that maybe they believe that the Jazz just take off and don't stop scoring, but I think it does simmer down. I think it finishes right around 225 is where the points total should be. 222, 225 around there. I think 237.5 is just way too high. We're taking the under on that one. You know what? I'm saying this. We're going 1.5 units on that. 1.5 units on the under for the Jazz versus the Hornets game. Next up, we have the Kings, and again, we're riding with the dog here on this one. We're taking the Kings plus 12.5 across the bridge in Golden State. The Warriors still dealing with people being out. Kings finding momentum here, even with guys out in health and safety protocols, possibly getting their number one center back in Rashawn Holmes. We're going to see if consistency pays off. I get that it's the second night of a back-to-back, and Curry and Draymond are coming in fresh after a night's rest. But, again, I like the dogs here. I like the momentum the Kings are bringing into this game. Plus 12.5 for 1 unit. We're rolling with that one. And finally, again, another dog. We are taking it. We're taking 1 unit on plus 4.5 for the San Antonio Spurs. And you know what? I'm claiming it here now. We're also taking 1 whole unit on plus 155 underdogs for the San Antonio Spurs. So we like the Spurs underdogs spread in line. And we also like the Philadelphia 76ers spread in line. So you guys take that with what you will. Let me know if you're going to ride with me, if you're fading me down in the comments section. Let me know if you guys think, hey, Vince, you shouldn't be thinking like this because X, Y, and Z. Let's get the conversation going down in the comments section below. And if you haven't done so already and this is your first time watching one of these videos, please hit that subscribe button so you're up to date with all the content that we bring to this YouTube channel, as well as hitting that bell button so you're the first one here and the first one to hit that like button. My name is Vince Miracle. You guys can follow me on all social media platforms of at VM Center. Basketball Zone and the Cowbell Kingdom YouTube channel can be found at Cowbell_Kingdom. Good luck to all of you guys. Let's keep filling this bag, and until next time, peace.